You know, in this book, you painted Abacha in a positive light. Why?
You put pressure on him. You know, when everybody's agitating against you, it makes you too security conscious.
You blamed every other person but not Abacha in this book.
You know, let me tell you something. In the military government, especially in military governments, the laws are different. The way things are done is different. In the 70s too, if you did this kind of thing in the 70s during the Gawan regime or the Moritala regime or the Obasanjo regime, you will get the same treatment. The fact that you know about the coup already is already like treason. The fact that you are grumbling, you have to leave the army. You be court-martialed. You can be killed. You can say you wanted to do a coup. You are trying to overthrow the president. So that's how military governments are all over the world. It's the same thing in Russia today, even though in this modern Russia, you can't be grumbling in the Putin's Russia. So all that. And then there's another thing, you know, soldiers that go to the war front, they're always confronted by PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, you know. They are stressed. So if you start provoking or taking actions that threaten the soldiers that have gone to the war front, this sense of suddenly comes upon them. It's like a trauma. They see themselves back in the war front.
Did Obasanjo provoke Abacha to that extent?
Of course, he did. Because, you know, he offered, Abacha tried to beg Obasanjo so much, but Obasanjo did not listen. He kept on saying, give me a date, when are you leaving? Give me a date, when are you going to hand over? But Abacha did not give him a date. But what provoked Abacha was that he begged Obasanjo to follow him to South Africa during the Mandela's inauguration. And Obasanjo told him he was going to London or somewhere on another mission. He had an event somewhere, a conference somewhere to attend, and he wouldn't be able to go with them. But later, Abacha went with his entourage. They went to South Africa, and then Obasanjo came there from the UK. He came there to witness the cold reception that Abacha and his entourage received from in Nigeria.
By this time, Abiola had also embarrassed him. Abiola was in South Africa.
No. Obasanjo was in South Africa.
But Abiola was also there.
Okay.
Abiola was also there, and there was this talk that Abiola had gone to sit in the chair meant for Abacha.
No, I didn't hear that.
I've read that in different books.
I wasn't aware of that. I didn't come across that anywhere.
That Obasanjo even had to advise Abiola not to do that. That was a direct confrontation of Abacha.
Oh,
Abacha did not take that lightly.
Okay,
I've read that account.
I didn't know about that account. I didn't hear it, but I didn't hear that account in the public.
So, but by this time, Abacha had enough of Obasanjo, because he was one of the biggest critics of the Abacha government at the time. So it was clear Abacha was going to deal with him, right? Mm-hmm. So when he arrived in Nigeria, despite advice from different persons not to return, he came back. You told the story in such a way that justified Abacha's actions against Obasanjo.
Because Obasanjo at the time was insisting that he must leave the place. You can't be there. You are not supposed to be there.
So he was threatening the authority of Abacha?
Yes. When I know he was a much junior officer, but once you become the head of state, you are now the leader of the country.
So must he teach him a lesson?
Well, that's between the two of them, because I don't know all the nitty-gritty. They have their personal interactions. Nobody can tell what really happened totally. The total view. You can't have the total view because there are personal interactions between them that are not seen by the public or journalists or newspaper houses or anybody.
Because you told us stories that some of us don't know. You said at some point Abacha was feeling, were you have done your own.
Of course, no.
Babangida, you have governed. You people should support me.
Yes.
And he wasn't getting that support.
He wasn't getting that support. He even said it openly. He said that was in the press. That was in the press. He said it openly, that they should support him. They should try and support him. Even anybody that was criticizing him, he went to try and appease all of them and beg them that they should support him. He's just going to be there for some time, So that's what happened. He tried to make everybody come on board with him. It was when they were not cooperating that he decided to.
By fire, by force.
No, that he decided to even remove the civilian governors and make it a full military regime. He was initially ready to work. Abiola appointed some people into his cabinet, like Jack Conde and some of the other people that they appointed that went to work. Even King Gibe went to work with Abacha. Abiola knew about somebody. He said he could go and work with him. So after all, he had promised he would hand over to him. So some of them had gone, that was part of the June 12, they had gone to work with the government at the time. So he was trying to, but when the agitation did not stop, they kept on striking and disrupting the government and insisted that it must be that mandate, the June 12 mandate, that Babangida cancelled. That was when Abacha felt, let me use military governments and not use the civilian governors anymore. So they just sacked all the civilian governors and appointed military governors. So during military government, it's military government. You don't start challenging the military government for any reason whatsoever.
He was threatened.
He was.
And he went for Yar'Adua.
He went for Yar'Adua.
Went for Obasanjo.
Went for all of them.
Those were phantom coups.
Yeah.
There was no coup. Did Obasanjo plot a coup?
And Obasanjo plot a coup. Obasanjo never involved himself in a coup.
He was never part of any of the coups.
He was never part of any coup in Nigeria. They just used to invite him because he was Obasanjo is a brilliant man, very brilliant, so he knows how to relate with other countries, other world leaders, and, he's the only person that has succeeded up to today that has brought an American president to Nigeria. Only Obasanjo has been able to do that, achieve that feat, bring the American presidents to Nigeria. Obasanjo has some special traits,
Abacha wanted to key into it.
He wanted to key into it. He was begging to recognize me. If you follow me to South Africa, if you go with me, they will recognize me. I will become, my government will be legitimate. They knew that Obasanjo was clout, somebody that everybody reckoned with, all over the world. So he was like giving any government that Obasanjo approved will get legitimacy. You can see today that Atiku is still lobbying Obasanjo that he should come and support him. Obasanjo is a very powerful man, and he knows he has many crafts.
And that was the man Abacha wanted to take out? Abacha would have killed him in prison, right?
Well, I don't really know. That's what they say. I wasn't there. I'm not really there, so I don't know.
What happened to Yar'Adua?
I'm not sure. They said the people talk about injection, people talk about food, but you don't know who was doing all these things. You don't really know. When something is a state, when you call something a state murder or a state event, it's the state that did it. You don't know who is the state. Well, you can call the state the president, but when you use the state, you don't know the in and out of it, of the matter, really. That's the thing.
Why did you absorb Abacha from some of the crimes that were committed under his watch? The assassination of political opponents.
They provoked him. And once you are this is military regime. You don't confront military regime. It's not a civilian government. If you confront a military regime, then you should be ready to face what you meet there. It's a military government. You don't talk. You don't criticize the military government anywhere in the world. Even up to today, you can't do it. In so many countries around the world where there are dictators, you have strong men. You don't criticize the government. You must always agree with the government. You don't criticize the government. So that is what makes Tinubu today as president a master strategist. He had seen that they made mistakes during the Abacha government. That you don't confront the military government. He had realized that. So when Buhari became president, he knew Buhari, it was a civilian government, but he knew Buhari had military background. He didn't confront Buhari. He kept quiet on anything that was going on. He didn't say anything. He had learned that they made a mistake during the June 12. The approach was different, was wrong.
What approach should they have adopted?
More of a diplomatic approach. It will have been much easier, or, allow the military government to end itself. When it ends, and you can put some small pressure, advice here and there, but you can't come confrontational with even any government.
You don't believe in struggles?
You can have struggles, but if you want to do struggles, then you must be ready for
the consequences.
Not ready for the consequences. You don't do that kind of a thing. You don't do it.
So Yar'Adua and Obasanjo must have learned some lessons because they confronted Abacha.
They confronted Abacha.
And Yar'Adua died for it. Mm-hmm. Obasanjo survived it.
Mm-hmm. You don't confront military government. That's the thing. It's known everywhere. It has been like that since.
There's the book.
That was what Iyabo Obasanjo was telling her father. That you remember that when you were head of state, nobody dare confront you. She reminded him when she wrote the letter. That's what she was trying to tell him, that you don't confront somebody that is now the president. It's not done. Because when you were president, nobody dared confront you or challenge you.
Yeah, he was challenged.
He was challenged. They can criticize Obasanjo.
Yeah,
he doesn't mind, but some people are less tolerant.
Abacha was less tolerant.
Yeah, some people are less tolerant, especially when the opposition is too much, when the pressure is too much, when it's coming from everywhere, then you are caged. It's like you are caged in.
Was Abacha caged?
He was caged. You can see that he didn't used to go anywhere. He didn't travel much. He was always in Abuja. He didn't travel much. He was always in the villa.
So did he know most of the events that took place under his watch?
You might not know everything.
Because you made that point here.
You might not know everything. You can't know everything at times. Sometimes policemen or soldiers, they act. They're not acting. They act on their own behalf.
To protect you.
They might do so. So you can't be sure. You can't know. You can't know because nobody was really there. So if such things happen, you just call it a state murder. It's the same thing that happened with Bola Ige, and they said Bola is a state murder. They consider it a state murder, or they said they don't know who did it. Akonde said it was a state murder. That and this Akonde, he said recently, not too long ago, he said it's a state murder. Some people say they don't know who did it. So such things happen in the government. So
this is the book we are looking at. Sani Abacha, Nigeria's most powerful defense minister and head of state. It takes a different view of Abacha. Did you meet the family of Abacha when writing this book?
I got an interview. You have to interview and hear their own version of the story. You have to interview and hear some version of the story. Hear something here, hear something there. If you want to do a thorough research, you have to interview people around and ask around and go around and do things and do some research around, do some good research.
What even spurred you to embark on this journey in the first instance?
Well, because I just felt you can't continue to attack a dead man that has been dead for 25 years. And you keep on saying he's the one that has done this, has done that, has done this. You keep on saying he looted the country, looted the money, Abacha loot. Everything was Abacha loot. Any money that you see somewhere, you say Abacha loot. It was not okay. It was getting too much. Even at a point in time, the American government said they won't return the money to Nigeria anymore because they saw that the money was coming back to America and to European banks. That the money they were sending back to the country that were being repatriated, so other people were taking the money and the money was ending up in different accounts. So they said that at the time, the government in America said they would want to supervise the projects they want to do in Nigeria. They want to supervise it and see what they are doing with the money, because at the end of the day, most of the money that they recovered that they claimed to have recovered was always going back to some other people's accounts. And you can see that from what has been happening in the last 20 years, 25 years, people are still taking money out of the country. People are buying houses here and there, and there are people, EFCC has gone after so many people. They've seen so many of their properties abroad. So many politicians, former presidents, this and that, political appointees, ministers, governors, some of them were arrested in London. People have seen money. People are taking money out of the country. So you can't say it's only one man. And the thing is that, under the Abacha government, even as a president or as a governor, you don't have to steal money. You can do contracts and then whatever comes out, you can take your own percentage. What Abacha's did that I know, because I went to NNPC to seek contracts at a point in time, and they told me some things there, So I know that every country or every government or every state in a country, like Lagos State, Ogun State, or your state, Kaduna State, Kano State, there are contracts that the government awards for different projects. There are contracts they award for different projects. If you corner all the contracts and take all the jobs, and you take your normal 30% commission, or if maybe it's 25%, by the time the money, your profit will multiply. It will run into billions of naira.
Abacha did that.
Definitely, they did that.
They cornered some contracts.
They cornered all the major contracts, and they did it. So they didn't. It's not that they were looting the money directly. They were not. They did all the major contracts, and that upset the political class, the elite class, and the people, the business class, because all the contracts that people are supposed to have been going to other people, they cornered everything. They said it's the old-fashioned way of doing things, in Nigeria. It's like when you give monopoly to a certain person to bring in cement, to bring in sugar, to bring in flour, to bring in rice, and you don't allow anybody else to bring it in Nigeria, give it to a particular person. Before you know it, the money runs into millions of dollars and pounds. If they change the money back and,
So that was the money Abacha made.
That's how they made their money.
You also suggested that at some point when he was threatened by the international community,
yes,
you made the point that he began to
move money to some personal accounts. So that in case they freeze the assets of the country will not collapse. That's what they did to Russia recently with what is happening in Ukraine. They freeze the assets. They freeze their assets, their assets in the different countries where they keep their reserves. If they freeze the reserve of a country, the country will be in problem. So to avoid that threat, it was mentioned in the paper at the time that they would look at that option of moving money from the normal reserve where they keep the money to some other account, so that in case they decide to shut it down, they will have money to still run the government. And that's how so many of that money got out and about. I read it in the papers. It wasn't somebody told me, and I heard it that they were going to do that. So for people that were in the government at the time.
So to you, he didn't steal the money.
They did major contracts. Look at all the jobs that they awarded to PTF. They made Buhari head of PTF. There are lots of road contracts. Anybody who is doing road contracts, there are supplies that go with it. Supply of sand, granite, cement, tar. All those things go with contracts. And there are certain percentages that are legitimate that you are allowed to make from it. If a governor awards you a contract to do something, you can make 25%, 30% on it. If they do that in so many places and for a long period of time, your money will be millions. And it will be legitimate money. Is Dangote's money looted money? It's gotten a monopoly. It's like a contract. You supply cement, you supply sugar, you supply rice. Also the Dan Tatars, the Falawayos, all of them, they did those kind of jobs.
The military made most of those millionaires.
Yes, they made those millionaires. And because they gave them monopoly. And when they give you a monopoly, nobody else can bring that goods in. Maybe you can bring a small quantity, but to say you want to bring a shipload to come and compete with anybody else will become a problem. They will not allow it. And when you get that kind of contract, before you know it, you have millions.
The story you told about Abacha's Attorney General, Onagoruwa,
it's just an idea.
Just an idea. Mm-hmm. Who killed Onagoruwa's son?
Nobody knows. We're not really sure.
But you made some...
Because people, I know I mentioned it there, that it's possible that it could be some loyalists that went after his son because maybe they were making fun at the death of his son. Because people were doing that all over the country, and I saw it as a sin. It was so obvious. People are making fun in offices that why did they fly a private jet? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? They were saying all sorts of things. They were squandering the country's money because they flew a presidential jet, which is something that everybody flies around in now. Now, if you go to the airports all over Nigeria, there are all small jets all over the place. In those days, even up to today, if you want to go to Kano, or you want to go to Mina, you want to go to any of those remote states, Zamfara, Katsina, there might be only one flight in a day. So sometimes you might need to charter a plane or something. So I think they chartered that plane at the time, and they took that plane at the time. You still have to pay. You still have to fuel the plane anyway. So if you are buying tickets, your ticket money fuels your plane. So that's how the plane gets fueled. So if a few friends go with their friends, with son of the head of state, and they fly the private jet, the presidential jet, it's not it's a small plane. They took it to Kano. But unfortunately, the plane crashed. But I felt the plane was sabotaged.
You felt it was sabotaged?
Yes, it was sabotaged. Presidential jets don't crash like that. So I felt that they thought Abacha would fly that plane, and that once he flies that plane and it crashed, I think somebody tampered with the plane. Even Fani Kayode mentioned it recently. In a few years ago, he mentioned that somebody sabotaged the plane. I read it in the papers.
Who can tamper with a presidential jet?
Well, there are people in the government who work in the government. There are many powerful people in the government. It's not only one person. One person does not make a government. That's one thing. It's a group of people that you might have a president, a head of state, a vice president, a deputy. You have ministers, you have governors. It's not one person that makes.
But we are talking
makes the government.
We are talking about a man you have defined as Nigeria's most powerful defense minister and head of state.
He is the most powerful defense minister and head of state because look at what is happening in Nigeria today. The insecurity. There is no insecurity. It's nothing like insecurity. Nobody can do any nonsense in Nigeria when Abacha was there. Nobody can try all this nonsense that is going on. All these bandits and kidnapping that is going on anywhere. And there's nothing like that. You can't even find armed robbery in Abuja when Abacha was head of state. You can walk around in the night everywhere, even up to 2007, Obasanjo was there. And the country was very safe. There's no crisis anywhere. It was after Obasanjo left. Even during Obasanjo's time, there's security everywhere and nobody can try any nonsense. You don't go about killing people and kidnapping people all over this place and nobody can stop it. During Abacha's time, nobody could do that kind of a thing. And if he was the one that was the leader at the time, if he was the leader at this point in time, such a thing that you are experiencing, killing people, kidnapping people, and all those kind of things can never happen. That's why I called him the most powerful head of state, because he was able to secure the country on all fronts. He secured the country on all fronts.
Was Onagoruwa a victim?
I wouldn't know, because I felt that maybe he probably was criticizing he said something about the plane crash and things like that,
And the way you described him here, he was already schemed out as Attorney General. He didn't even know where decrees were.
Yeah, because when you come and serve in a military government it operates through decrees. It doesn't operate by the constitution or by law or by an assembly having to debate a law before they make it law, before they deliberate on a particular bill, before they make it a law. Military government is a decree. Once they decree something, it's instant. Immediate effect.
But the Attorney General should know.
He should know. We probably got carried away and we started releasing political detainees that were from an event of a coup. When you go and release people that were roped or mentioned in a coup and you say you want to go and free them, then you are putting yourself in some problem. That's it.
He didn't understand it was a military regime.
He didn't understand it was a military regime. And that upset him. He said, if he's the Attorney General of the country and they don't tell him that they've introduced certain decrees and stuff like that, he felt that he didn't belong at the time. So, and I think Abacha confronted him that we went to release somebody that wanted to kill me. You went to release him. How will you release him? Without telling me, without getting permission from me, without getting a clearance. If you want to do anything under the military government or even under civilian government, once the president or somebody has put somebody in a lockdown, you can't by law release the person just like that without getting an approval from the number one. You can't release a political detainee without the president approving it. He must get to know about it. Even if the court release, even under civilian government, if the president is aware that somebody is a political detainee, you must inform him. He must get to know about it. That okay, so person must give their final approval. That okay, they can release this person, they can release that person, they can do that. It's the president that gives presidential pardons is the one that will release people that are under political detention and things like that. Or that can pardon somebody that had done a criminal activity or somebody that are accused of a criminal activity or anything like that.